Hey everybody, it's Z here with another edition of Six Pack Productions, and let's just jump right into it. I want to tell you about a story that I read many years ago that I would like to recommend to anyone who comes across this video, because I think it is a story that can bring a lot of knowledge and maybe even an epiphany or two along the way in the current era. That story is Harrison Bergeron, which was written a few decades ago by an author by the name of Kurt Vonnegut, who is unfortunately no longer among the living. The premise, without spoiling anything, is that the story takes place in a dystopian near future where, in order to make sure that true equality is met, as opposed to the older concepts of equality of opportunity and equality under the law, is met. This true equality is handled by government enforcement of limitations on greatness. What exactly does that mean? Well, early on, we are introduced to one of the main characters who is of above average intelligence. He is not a prodigy of any sort. He's simply a pretty smart guy. But because he is smarter than the norm, and because the government has this, what they claim at least to be a very compassionate motivation of making sure that people don't feel bad because of their own limits and that they have as equal footing to do what they want in life as others, this character is forced to wear a device in his ear that every, I think it's 30 seconds or so, it'll produce a loud, jarring, random noise, like an alarm clock going off or a car horn blaring, in order to prevent him from having the time to focus and come up with any complex, intricate ideas that could move him ahead. And it continues like this. People who are athletically gifted are forced to wear weights. People who are considered to be too attractive by the government are forced to wear masks that cover all or part of their face. And this is all done for the sake of the self-esteem of the people below them and under the guise of this equality. Now, things take a couple turns from there, but the reason that Vonnegut set this up is that when you're seeking equality of outcome, there are two ways to accomplish it. One is to simply give things to those who are lower than others in whatever hierarchy you're using to determine this outcome, and move them upwards artificially. Or you take things away from those that are higher up in order to bring them down. Now, I put it that way, but really the latter is the only one that's true, because in order to give anything to those towards the bottom, really the only way you're going to be able to do that is to take things away from those at the top. Now, in this story, it's done in very blunt, direct fashion. Oh, your hard work or own genetic talent has led to you being above average? We are simply going to place a very literal physical device to incapacitate you so that you're back down with the rest. But today, where that comes to is simply taking from others in order to give them away on the premise that this is some sort of good deed. Well, it's not. And it's become very apparent to me that society is trending in this direction. Obviously, this is meant to be a commentary on socialist ideology, but we're seeing it right now in the Western world. And it became apparent to me in a rather unusual way. As someone who plays a lot of video games, if you've looked around YouTube at videos about gaming news and culture, you may have come across an outcry over a game that's been released in the last couple weeks by From Software, Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice. I don't have the hardware to play it myself, but I've been watching others play it and getting tremendous entertainment from that. But From Software for a while now has had a couple themes within their games, and one of the big ones is that these games tend to be very difficult. Not difficult because of random unpredictable events that can have severe negative consequences, but difficult because mistakes are punished heavily. And thus, in order to succeed at these games, you have to be much more methodical, you have to be more analytical, while also being very quick to react and sharp with your wits and reflexes. That's how it was with Demon Souls, which I actually didn't play, into Dark Souls, with which I'm a tremendous fan, through Bloodborne, and now Sekiro. This outcry, however, regarding the game that I just mentioned earlier, is the idea that there should be an easy mode to the game, so that people who aren't able to or don't want to put in the time and effort to learn the lessons that the game wants to teach you, to simply treat it like a movie and experience everything from beginning to end. The first article regarding this game, and this isn't the first game that's triggered this conversation, but it came up about 2 weeks ago, actually maybe 3 now, in Forbes magazine, where the author actually said that out of respect to the fans, the game needed an easy mode. And he went on to say that trying to force someone through this sort of test of endurance and test of will was unfair, particularly to those who may have some sort of impediment, whether it's a more timing one, not having the schedule to be able to commit significant hours to improving at the game, all the way up to having a physical or neurological disability, which would lead to being unable to act as quickly and with the dexterity required in order to succeed. Now, people were pretty quick to speak up against this, and I side with them. Look, let's address the first one, the big issue. No one has the right to experience everything. And there was a time where this was a lesson that we taught people as children so that it didn't become a bigger issue when they were adults. If nobody was ever told no, then the entire world would be filled with like ballerinas and firefighters and astronauts, and that would be about it. But most people, when they decide that they want to go into space, come to realize that only a few dozen people, are going to accomplish that within their generation, and that the odds are slim, and that the skills required they might not have access to. Should we give up on trying to operate space stations because little Billy can't pull it off because of, well, whatever reason? No. Now, some have argued that, well, if you include the easy mode, if you lower the bar for those who want it that way, you have your own version that's your difficult, challenging version, and nothing's being taken away. Except it is. It's no different than any other take on the everyone gets a trophy attitude. The accomplishment of anything is demeaned when you simply hand it out for free. If I have to work, let's put it very simply. Let's say that I take up a job. I'm going to mow a neighbor's lawn, and they offer me $20 to mow the lawn. Takes me not too much, half an hour. I put in the work. Hey, I did this for you. They hand me a $20 bill. If that person hands another adult $20 just for saying hi, I'm going to feel like the work I put into it was a complete and utter waste, because clearly it wasn't worth $20, or at the very least, it wasn't worth it to that person. If you take, even in a video game, someone who's putting in a lot of time and effort to accomplish something, especially if it's the goal that's set out to by the studio, and someone else is able to just click a button and accomplish everything you did with virtually no effort because no one wanted to say, sorry, I guess this just isn't for you. Yes, it does demean the accomplishment. Now, I understand that video games are not the end-all, be-all of life, but the attitude that can come from this can carry negative consequences. If a person is so used to there being a public outcry, I hate to pick on anyone whose name is Billy, but we have to make everything better for little Billy so that he can get through life and never experience hardship or anything unpleasant, because we want him to succeed, and the only way to do that is if he believes nothing can stop him. Yeah, then the first time something comes along and stops him, whether it's an event, something out of anyone's control, or just another person being better, little Billy's going to lose his goddamn mind. And he's going to end up probably being a tremendous asshole about it at the very least. We all have limitations. Nobody's perfect. The universe was not designed to put you in a position to succeed. Hey, I know that I might be one of the last people of the last generation to be told suck it up, but yeah, sometimes you have to suck it up. And right now, the attitude is on the producer to lower the bar. But what happens if this attitude shifts slightly and suddenly the pressure is on the consumer? What if the next From Software game were told, hey, this game's really tough. We need you guys to just play it really poorly so that the token little Billy that I've been using doesn't feel as bad when he dies 48 times in the game. At first, it's just a polite little question. But the moment you start to apply pressure, the moment you start to apply shame, and the moment you apply force, which is where Harrison Bergeron ends up, boy, we are in a lot of trouble. And I'm talking about this in the course of video games right now, but that's not even the only aspect of life where we're seeing this. I mean, watch one video online or read one article regarding fat shaming versus thin privilege, and try not to cringe. You know, that's another corner of the world that has some overlap with the make all games easy, is this rather left-leaning attitude that if someone's overweight and it's entirely due to their own decisions, yeah, you should still tell them they're wonderful and attractive and beautiful, even if you think it's completely wrong, because to do so otherwise is to be a bully. It's shaming. No. Alright? The human animal is one that will always find a way to separate its society into a hierarchy. That doesn't mean that whoever's at the bottom of the hierarchy should just crawl into a hole and die. That's silly. I don't subscribe to that idea. Most people don't subscribe to it, an overwhelming majority. But if it's a hierarchy in which you can move up and down relatively easily, then stop complaining when anyone's above you and put in the effort to improve. And it'll make everything better. Look, I'm not saying this to be mean to people who want some barriers removed. At least not only to be mean. I'm doing it because one way that you're going to overcome the feeling of any sort of disappointment over coming to terms with your own limitations, you can regain a lot of that confidence back by setting goals and accomplishing them. If you think that that video game is too hard, put in the time, spend a day on it, learn what's going on, pay attention, be smarter about it. And when you beat it, when you get good, the game becomes easy mode. You made it easy mode because now you know what the hell you're doing. You have the power to turn on, to activate easy mode in your life. So don't demand that other people change the setting for you. It's going to be tough at first. Absolutely. But it'll get easier and easier the more you work at it. So, no. No, you shouldn't need easy mode right up front for anything in life. But I think anyone can earn it. Hopefully that made sense. Again, guys, gonna sign off here now. Z with Six Pack Productions. Please like, subscribe, comment, share the video. Tomorrow I will have my first six-pack review. I'm going to have a couple beers as I film and talk about what I'm drinking, but I haven't decided what I'm going to do yet. I'll have to stop by the shop before I get squared away. And, hey, let me know what you guys think. Peace out, everyone. Take care.